This is the Tom Barnard Podcast. Listen live weekday mornings, 8 to 9:30, or anytime you like as a podcast on the Tom Barnard app at tombarnardshow.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Don't tell me how to do it, sister. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
I got to ask you guys a question because I can't watch the national news anymore, particularly like Fox and CNN, because all they do is lie on those shows. They just lie about the other side and this guy's the devil. No, your guy's the devil. How is that good for humanity to be talking like that on national television? Explain that.
It's good for their stock prices.
Oh, absolutely.
Ratings are up.
It's good for selling that narrative.
The ratings are actually down.
Oh no, they're definitely down, but they would be much further down if they didn't.
Well, that's true.
Poke the bear the other side. Yeah.
So this is desperation.
Yeah,
pretty much desperation because, well, first of all, most of the people they have doing the news now are horse shit. They're just not any good. They used to have good people doing it back in the day, but now it's just some guy's wife now is the host of the morning show, and that one guy in the morning show, the older guy with the glasses on Fox. Let me just tell you what I think about this whole situation. That's how he talks. Okay. He's got this real sing-songy voice. So I don't know. So what happens now is basically I just jump on the internet when I get here, and I look for news stories to talk about. And look, if you watch CNN or Fox, that's your business. It just bothers me too much because I know they're lying. Yeah. They're just making up their own version of the whole situation. And it just, is there anywhere to watch news? Because I've tried watching NBC New York. I've tried watching Newsmax. And it just, there's nowhere to go.
No, the local news is really the only news shows that I'll watch, other than like maybe if there's like a major event like when the Trump assassination, then you scroll through whatever channels to figure some stuff out. But for the most part, it's just local news, and then you're on your own from there.
How about this Christopher Wray guy? Well, the bullet barely grazed his ear, and you don't even know if it was a bullet or not. What is wrong with you? I mean, this guy's a human being. I don't care if I hate someone. I don't hate anybody anyway. There are people I don't like, but I don't bother hating anybody. But if they took a bullet to the ear, I don't think big deal.
Well, the thing is, like, I'm putting in myself in the shoes of, like, if I'm out and I get hit with like a stray bullet. Yes. It just barely grazes me. I have a little scar. That's it. I'm going to say I got shot.
Absolutely.
Of course. Absolutely. When people ask me about the story, I'll probably like yuck it up a little bit too. It's like, oh, it got me. You can see where here's the exit wound. Like, but in reality, I know like maybe you just barely got me. But I'm saying that I got shot. Absolutely.
No doubt about it.
I'm owning that.
And even if I was walking down the street and somebody shot at me and missed, I would still be like, I was fighting for my life out here in these streets because people are shooting at me. Like
you were like Neo in the Matrix. It was your cat-like reflexes. Good on you, Tevin. Right. Dodge that bullet.
Is that Keanu Reeves?
Yes.
Yeah, he was great in that movie.
Yeah.
I like him, actually. He's a very decent guy. And I loved it when the Chucker used to talk to him on the queue. That was phenomenal. No question about it.
Was that pre... what are all the movies he's in?
John Wick.
Was that pre-John Wick, or was that okay?
Yeah, it's got to be, right? Because I bet you.
Oh yeah, it is.
Like I bet you that was after like Hardball and Point Break, but probably. I mean, he's been like a megastar since The Matrix. So.
Very, very true, and just a really decent, nice man. Honest to God, I've never met him in person. I've talked to him on the phone a couple of times, but I've never met him in person. But hell of a nice guy. He's very laid back. So. Some people think, oh, he's stupid. Why? Because he's laid back. Some people are just laid back. That's the way it goes. I was looking at the headlines in the Star Tribune this morning, and Fond du Lac Band becomes first Minnesota tribe to join a legal fight against social media giants. What's that? Do you know what that's all about? I mean, I haven't read the story yet.
No, this is the first time hearing about it.
A growing legal battle in Indian country takes aim at Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, and YouTube. Well, I better click on this to find out what they're pissed off about. I thought saying things like Indian country were offensive.
Yeah, that seems like the wrong labeling.
Like Indian country. Does that mean I live in honky country?
Yeah, I mean, and technically, like, isn't the whole U.S. used to be Indian country? So, like, where, I don't know.
Well, people do tend to overstate things. There's no question about that. Do you guys happen to know the percentage of white farmers that had slaves in America?
I don't know, probably lower than you would think.
Oh, I was going to say higher.
You think higher? You ready?
Sure, yeah.
This is a fact, and you can look it up. Of all of the farmers and whatever they were, whatever business they had or whatever, 1.4% owned slaves. You would think that 99.9% did. And the only reason I'm bringing that up is you got to stop dumping stuff on people because of their skin color. It never worked for black people, and now it's not working for white men, who are the biggest pieces of shit ever born now, unfortunately. I'm looking at AJ when I say that because Tevin was agreeing that I am a, worthless honky. I could see the look in his eye. But see, that's the kind of lying that drives me nuts. You were overstating. Look, you should have never had one slave in America. That's not my point. Slavery is a horrible thing. It happened around the world, and thank God. Well, some countries still do have slaves. Did you know that?
Yeah, there's still modern day slavery, like in like sex trafficking is a form of modern day slavery.
Yeah,
there was like a magazine sales ring back in the day where they would take college students and like ship them all over the place.
Yep.
Yeah.
Look, why don't we approach all of these problems with reality instead of just having to blow them sky high and, oh my God. Yeah. If one slave got killed, that's as bad as it's ever going to get. You know what I mean? If one person loses their freedom in their life, we got to do something about that. Right?
Yeah. And I would assume there weren't like as many, I guess, plantations as it seemed for like back in the day, but the number of slaves on them was large enough where, it wasn't like every single person had slaves, but the people that had them, they had a lot.
They did. You're absolutely right. Well, and again, I mean, the comparison between now and back then, I mean, being married to Catherine's like being a slave. There's no question about it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
She runs my life. No, I just, once again, I think you're harming people by overstating the case, because the average person thinks the entire South, everybody in the South owns slaves.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there were like 4 million enslaved people in 1860, according to the United States Census Bureau. So yeah, even though if it was 1% of all the farms, which I mean, back then everybody probably owned a farm because there wasn't really much else to do. So the 1% is low in terms of the total, but I mean, it's still a significant 4 million is not a.
I would like to dispute that number, by the way. How many people were there in America in 1860? There probably weren't even 4 million people here at the time.
Here's what I'm finding from Duke University.
Oh God. Yeah, that'll be accurate.
In 1860, 1% of white Southern families owned 200 or more, but there was at least owning one slave was 20 to 50% in the Southern states.
That's total bullshit. That's typical. Look, I don't want to argue about slavery. Slavery is horrendous across the board. That's not my argument here. But it's people like our universities are destroying this country. You do know that, right? I mean, what they're doing with their students now, telling them the bullshit that they tell their students, they're destroying this country because everybody's a commie now. Are you a commie?
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
I was in it for like 6 months and then I was like, I've had enough. Not really.
Okay. Well, Tevin passed his membership on to me, so I'm in like the trial period right now. So I'll have to get back to you.
Trial period. Look, I'm not trying to. What I'm actually trying to do is build the true story up instead of covering it up with a bunch of bullshit. Because for some reason, humanity always has to pick somebody they hate. Why do we have to do that?
Because if you can rally enough people around hating one group of people, then you can further whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. I mean, that's essentially what they do with politics today is Trump will get everybody to hate Kamala will get everybody to hate Trump, and then may the best hater win.
Speaking of that, hey, have you seen like the new what they're leaning into Kamala's team.
Oh, what now?
just calling MAGA and Trump's like closer circle, just leaning into and calling them weird. It's not.
Oh yeah, the weird. Yeah, they're big on weird.
It's not like offensive in any means, but it seems like some people are getting way worked up over it.
Oh, being weird?
Yeah.
I'm weird as hell, and I know it.
That's like, it's not a bad thing. It's just
no.
I mean, frankly, anybody that's super, super like into politics on either side, where it's like you're a fan, like a super fan, I think you're a little weird.
I have a question for you guys. Well, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, like, because he was saying the super fans, like all the people that have the ear patch when they show up to the rally.
God,
like,
yes.
A little weird.
A little. That's very weird. There's no question. No, once again, ladies and gentlemen, understand. All of this is all about money. It has nothing to do with skin color anymore. It used to. But now it's about how much money I can make by taking a side with this, that, or the other thing. I mean, really, the best you can do is Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, and Donald Trump. This is the best you can do, huh?
Yeah, it's not great. I think, Kamala's at least fresh and new feeling, so that is exciting. But I'm curious as to how long that will last, if people eventually get over it and start to turn on her the way they did every other politician that's ran for president the last 8 years. But we'll see.
There is a young, very, very attractive white woman who does, I'm telling you, spot on impression of Kamala Harris. Especially, she goes, so we were walking down the street. She starts laughing about taking a walk. Have you seen this woman?
No.
Nope.
She just nails the, I mean, it's not like over the top or anything. She's just really good at doing the impression. You know, I didn't check her name out. Someone could probably send it to us or whatever. But I just think, because everybody I run into now, when I say good morning to them or thank you or whatever the situation is, they're kind of stunned because apparently people are not all that polite anymore. I would encourage everyone, stop believing all this political bullshit, all these things that these politicians have to say. They're in it for the money. And by the way, the headline from yesterday is exactly what you said, AJ. Tim Walz called Republicans weird.
Yeah. Like I said, they're leaning into it.
I got to be honest with you. I don't care for either party. You know, I go by individual who I'd like to vote for. But as far as the parties are concerned, they both have beliefs that are way out of control. I mean, it's just ridiculous, some of the stuff that these people believe. But I don't know, man. That's why I like to watch a lot of fiction on TV, just to get away from reality, because reality is a bunch of bullshit too. Don't you think?
Yeah, for the most part. And it feels like for the past 8 years, for people going like, I'd vote for literally anybody that other than Biden and Trump. And now we have somebody that's literally anybody other than Biden and Trump. And so it's very curious to see, like, you'd think she would win in a landslide, but you'll obviously hear people now make excuses for why they don't like her as well. And I think some people just won't be happy no matter what.
Well, but you have to understand, they are lying about her being the border czar. The president of the United States referred to her as the border czar. No, she was never the border czar. Yeah, she was. You said she was, so I believed you.
Yeah. Well, is border czar, is that like an official U.S. government position?
Apparently to Joe Biden it is. Apparently to Biden it is, because he kept calling her that. Look, once again, you let 12 million people into this country that I don't understand. And their argument, of course, like Gelfan's argument is, well, we have to have somebody hold these jobs. Well, how about, like Americans? That'd be good. Look, I got nothing against any person of color or country or Mexican or whatever the hell. It's got nothing to do with that.
Mm.
But if you come to our country and start killing people, I got a problem with that. And it's happening a lot. And by the way, I can close with this. My block, 35th and Penn, 3506 was the house I owned. It is the murder capital of Minnesota now.
Oh, yeah.
What, 2 more yesterday? 3 more yesterday?
Yeah, I think you're saying there's 2 more yesterday and 3 the day before.
Yeah, that the very block that I lived on is the murder capital of Minnesota now. So, look, wouldn't you like to live in peace and stop arguing with people?
No, you got to have the chaos.
You got to have the chaos. Okay. Well, maybe you might be right about that. It's kind of entertaining to them, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're probably right.
People get too bored just sitting around.
I guess so. Just, God, you know what? I'd have a lot more fun if I hated someone.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the answer to it all.
You ever have passionate hate? It's a lot of fun.
But so I'll close with this because I know, oh God, we definitely got to get going. But I will close with this. I wouldn't give anybody the satisfaction of hating them. No way. I wouldn't waste my energy on hating. I don't hate anybody. Like I said, there are people I don't care for, but I don't waste a lot of time thinking about it. Wasting your time on hating someone you're just being distracted by the people that are lying to you and making money doing it. That's all it is, right?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Oh, look at him sitting in there not agreeing with us. I'm not saying a thing.
No, so I'm just...
You commie.
He's ready to hit that break button.
All right, it is time for the break. We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen. Some hunyuck, I don't know, some sports guy. What the hell is his name? Bill?
It is today.
It is today, baby. When you go to a restaurant, you expect the chef to be an expert. You expect your auto mechanic to be an expert when it comes to fixing your car. You judge them both by the results of their work. Josh Arnold is an expert in investments and planning your financial future. Josh Arnold is my expert, and he should be yours too. I talk to Josh every week, and he understands the market, the economy, and he knows how to plan for your retirement. Don't put it off another day. The man with your plan is Josh Arnold. Call Josh now for a no-obligation 48-minute evaluation. You've got nothing to lose, and you'll have an expert planning and managing your financial future. Call Josh at 952-925-5608. That's 952-925-5608. Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC Security Investment Advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions are Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice. I am a paid endorser.
When you need someone to listen, a lawyer you know and trust.
If you've never been in an auto accident, it's hard to know what to expect from the insurance adjuster. Here are some tips. 1, if they talk to you about whether or not you should hire a lawyer, it's a good sign that you probably should. 2, it's illegal for them to give you any legal advice. They aren't lawyers and they aren't licensed to practice law. 3, if they tell you that everyone involved in the accident is at fault, they're wrong. This comes from the belief that you're at fault for just being on the road. That's nonsense and not supported by any law. Finally, remember that friendly adjusters are often just gaining information. They want you to do most of the talking so they can file their report. I'm Mike Bryant from Bradshaw & Bryant. I hope you're never injured in a collision. But if you are, don't sign anything until you've talked to us.
Find Bradshaw & Bryant, personal injury attorneys at minnesotapersonalinjury.com.
Seeking justice for the injured. Bradshaw & Bryant.
Bradshaw & Bryant. I thought I'd put a tag on that. What do you think? No?
Oh, pretty good.
Mike Lindell and MyPillow employees want to thank my listeners for all your continued support. To thank you, they're having an overstock clearance and new product sale right now for the best prices ever when you use promo code TOM, and you get free shipping on your entire order. Get 50% off the MyPillow 2.0. Also get 50% off the brand new flannel sheets that just arrived and won't last long. 6-pack towel sets only $29.98, and take advantage of the free shipping on larger items such as mattresses, mattress toppers, 100% made in the USA on sale for as low as $99.99. Everything's on sale, from the brand new kitchen towels that have the same technology as the bath towels that actually absorb, dog beds, blankets, couch pillows, and so much more. To get the best specials ever, go to mypillow.com or call 800-516-5146. Use promo code TOM, and you get free shipping on your entire order. So call 800-516-5146 or go to mypillow.com and use promo code TOM.
This is the Tom Barnard Podcast. Listen live weekday mornings 8 to 9:30 or anytime you like as a podcast on the Tom Barnard app at tombernardshow.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are here. We're back. Judd Zulgad with us from SKOR North. So I tuned into the Twins game for about 2 seconds last night, and they were getting crushed, I believe, if I remember correctly.
It wasn't that. It was only 15-2.
15-2.
They led 1-0. What more do you want?
Yeah, you're right. I should have been happy at 1-0. I should have just tuned out. I think they were down 6-1, and I said, this is just hideous. 15-2.
Yes, 15-2.
How do you give up 15 runs in 9 innings? That's not easy.
You give up at least 6 in 1 and 4 in another, and then a various 5 elsewhere.
Your mic sounds really weird.
So are you using your computer microphone instead of your...
I've been having a problem with this. Hold on a second.
This has been...
There it is.
How does that sound?
That's much better.
I've been having a problem the past 2 days, and I have no idea why. It's defaulting to a different mic.
Yeah, it does do that. You ready?
Yep.
Yeah, your mic sounds great now. Everything's fantastic.
Is it good? Is it good now?
It is. It's really good now.
Oh gosh, I apologize. I don't know what the technical problem is. I need my SKOR North technical staff to show up here at my house to fix this all up. Old school ISDN line might be in order.
The ISDN, baby. Those were the days. So what's happening in your world so we can avoid talking about sports? Although the Vikings are in training again.
Hold on a second. There is good news, bad news.
Okay.
On Friday, the Twins are going to be back on Comcast. Bally Sports North is going to be back on Comcast. That got resolved. The bad news is it's going to be on a higher tier. So if you don't get like the ultimate sports tier, you are not going to get the Twins. And I believe somebody did the math, and I think I do get this tier because I'm nuts. But I believe if you want to get the Twins, your cable bill will be at a minimum like $110 a month.
It is $110 a month. Yep.
Nah, just pay to go to one game.
He goes, nah.
Just pay to go to a couple games a month and save the money.
So if you want to watch the Twins, you can, but it's not. If you were, they were on the basic tier before. That was the problem. That's why Bally's got pulled off, because the core of their disagreement was Bally's Diamond Sports Group that owns Bally's wanted to stay on the basic tier because that gets you the most eyeballs, and Comcast is like, no, you're bankrupt and you really are screwed, so we're gonna put you on a pay tier. Where that hurts though, Bally is advertising, because you lose eyeballs.
Yeah. Yep.
So like this is bad. This is bad for them, but I'd rather have the Twins available and pay more than I would not have them.
Well, Judd, how long until they're just fully out of business? Because it seems like a company that is this bankrupt should not be able to like have the broadcast rights to a professional sports team. Like if there's this many hoops to jump through for viewers and consumers, and now they're struggling and they're still, why is it not? And obviously I understand why there's a contractual obligation, but when it comes to like next season at this point, how does another company not step in and take over?
Because here's and unfortunately this is going to go back to politics a little bit. Until this, I didn't realize bankruptcy judges want to keep the bankrupt company afloat. So the bankruptcy judge in Houston that they keep going before, they're not like a criminal judge where it's like, let the chips fall where they may, and if you go to jail, I don't care. In bankruptcy, like this judge just permanently delayed a hearing, and every hearing that they're supposed to have is delayed because the Diamond lawyers come in and say, oh, we need more time. Yeah. And the judge sides with them. So it's gone from they were supposed to go out of business to we think we might have an influx of cash, which by the way is not taking place yet, to now they just push back the hearing and the judge allows it because the judge is actually sympathetic to the bankrupt company.
God. Okay. I mean, that's
how does that sound for screwed up?
Yeah.
They need to go out of business. I'm with you, but I was checking on that.
And none of this makes really any sense because like Judge, you're saying they announced like, hey, great news. We're back on Bally's, but it doesn't feel like anything was solved. Like it doesn't feel like the fans are going to be like, oh my gosh, this is great. We get to pay more money now to watch a team that's not going to spend any money themselves. So we got to spend money to watch you guys.
Right.
The biggest problem with the Twins too is that this solves nothing because they should not go back to Bally again. Their contract's up again. They're on a 1-year contract. Oh God. They need to get off of that so they can have MLB come in and produce games for them and help them, because then all blackout restrictions are lifted and they can stream. Their fear is they will not get a rights check then. So if you think the payroll's low now, you just wait, because it's probably going to go down again.
could they take a page out of what I want to say the Diamondbacks have done this year, where they started a brand new independent?
That's the league comes in. It's not independent. The league helps them, but the league, but there's no rights fee then necessarily. Like they can sell the games and the streaming, so they get money. But like a year ago, Diamond was paying them $54 million, which is a lot. Then they went back to Diamond for less. We don't know what that is, but let's say it's 40. They cut the payroll by 30. So if they lose a straight rights fee goes away, I think the payroll is going to come down again.
I have a question for you. How is it possible when I was a teenager in my early 20s that you could watch every game of the year for free on Channel 9? How did they ever survive all those years?
Well, they got a rights fee back then too, and Channel 9 showed a package of games. But I mean, this is the RSNs have they established this basically overpaying teams, and the teams loved it, right? But the reality is regional sports networks are going away, like with streaming and how people consume games now. So the era is ending, but baseball in particular, this is going to shock you. Baseball in particular has no idea what to do about that.
Here's the thing I don't understand. Back in the day, you would watch the Twins, which means every half inning, they would run at least 3 commercials.
Yep.
Okay. So you're talking about, 100 commercials probably during a Twins game. I don't know what the actual number is. I can figure it out. But so why don't you as a TV station split the revenue with the baseball team? So you get half the money from those commercials. They get half the money. Everyone wins. How is this so tough?
Because one, you're right. What's tough for them is they would have to hire an internal sales staff and pay more people.
Well, Channel 9 already has a sales staff.
Right. But if they're going to do, like for streaming purposes, they're probably going to be, because I don't think an independent station is going to show as many games as they want to show. So the Twins are going to have to produce these things with baseball, and they can make a lot off ad sales, but they're going to have to hire an internal staff to do that.
I have a question for you. So if you're a billionaire, you don't want to support your team by going out and getting advertisers for it. But if you want to buy a $3 million car, that's okay.
Of course.
God bless you. You're worth $1 billion. Good for you. If you didn't steal it all, you spend your money how you want to spend, but screwing the people over is getting really old. I will tell you that.
Well, it's about to get worse too, because 5 p.m. today is the Major League Baseball trade deadline, and after that, you cannot make any more trades. The old waiver process in August is gone. So this is going to be, the Twins are still yet to make a move.
Yeah, but I mean, the Twins, last I checked, we are positioned to make the playoffs if the playoffs started today. So surely, Judd, there should be a long list of rumors that you have for us today of potential big names that we're going to make a splash for, right?
Does anyone have a cricket sound?
Thank you. They're close enough, I guess. I mean, in my own head, it was close enough, not for you guys.
No, I got it.
Yeah, I just remember the old days. You would just watch the Vikings on Sundays or Monday nights, and you'd watch the Twins and everything with the basketball. We didn't have a basketball team for a long time, but I do love streaming, but it has screwed a lot of things up. There's no question about that.
Absolutely
more expensive.
Yeah, because yes, and that's true. And part of the problem too is we're in a weird era right now, right? Where you probably have never had as much confusion of consumption by age group,
right?
Since television started, and the radio was still where you heard your serials and shows, right?
Yeah,
like Jack Webb.
Yeah,
transition from. So I think that's part of the problem too. One, there's way too much now, but two, you've got people in their 60s who are TV people and they're not going to cut the cord and don't want to stream all this crap. And then you got people in their 20s who are like, hell yeah, I don't care about cable. I'll stream everything. And if it's on network TV, I don't give a damn for the most part. So I don't think this has ever been this fragmented, including when cable started, because that was pretty simple. That was into your television.
Yeah. Yep.
This is really, really an interesting era. And for sports teams in particular and leagues, it's difficult because they're trying to capitalize as much as possible. And when you're like baseball, you're left behind because you're just so slow.
Yeah, that's very true. I just saw what you were just talking about. I just saw some numbers. You take a group of, we'll just, shrink it down to 20-year-olds, 40-year-olds, 60-year-olds, and 80-year-olds. Between the four groups, they have nothing in common.
Nope.
I mean, literally nothing in common.
Nope.
That's just so weird. Completely different lives. I understand that. But even let's say the 40-year-olds and the 60-year-olds, they are widely separated because they're interested in different things. They have different lives. It used to be it would carry on from grandpa to dad to you. Yes. Doesn't do that anymore, I guess. It just doesn't happen any longer.
And I think deep down at its core, that is one of the reasons why the country is so divided.
No question about that. There is no doubt about that. And it's getting worse too.
Oh yeah, but it feels like we used to rally, right? Rally around each other. The last time I can remember that now is probably 9/11. Where it felt like there was a galvanized country that felt like it was supportive of each other. But yeah, I mean, it's incredible. But I mean, to go back to your point, Tom, what does the 20-year-olds used to have grandparents who were 60 or 70, right?
Yeah.
And to your point, the old school thing was they might not have much in common, but there was a bond there. I don't even know that bond exists now.
That's why I do make the point. And people always say, why do you do like 2 shows a day and all the rest of it? It is really important to me. And again, because both my grandfathers and my father were a pain in the ass pricks, all 3 of them. It's very important to me that there's Catherine and me, then there's Andy and Alex, and then there's Andy and Alex's children. There are 3 generations there. We get together all the time to go to dinner, to do a show together, whatever, because I'm not giving that up. It's not going to happen. I'm not going to, matter of fact, I already threatened my grandchildren. If you ever ignore me, you're in big trouble.
See, and this is the old school.
Yeah, it's very old school.
Be afraid of dad.
Yeah, there you go.
Afraid. I was afraid of my old man. You're supposed to be afraid of your father. He never even hit me, but I was afraid of him. If he got mad, as a little kid, I would start crying instantly. Yeah, this is, look, that type of thing, it feels like it's just completely gone. And I mean, in some ways that's good. But I do feel like when parents decided to become their kids' friends instead of being their parent, probably threw a monkey wrench in the natural cycle of things.
No question about it. I make a very big deal, and it's just a natural thing now, but Kath and I made a big deal. When the grandkids come over, we hug and kiss them goodbye and hello and all that, ask them how they're doing. Yeah. Our children, Catherine and I, every night before we go to bed, she kisses and hugs me, and it makes my life. People don't do that stuff anymore. You're losing your humanity, and I wouldn't do that if I were you. I really would not.
Yeah. Unfortunately, last thing, I think my generation, so I was born in 1969, is partially to blame, because I remember when I was in high school, we were considered one of the most apathetic classes of all time. Yep. And I believe that I am now, although I don't have kids, I believe that I am now in the generation of parents who have coddled their kids beyond belief.
Yeah, that it probably is true.
So I'd like to take credit for my generation for thoroughly screwing up America. Thank you very much.
Hey, Judd, really quick before you go, Kelly wrote in and wants to know if you can remember the old Met Center. They had a cocktail lounge. Do you remember the name of that cocktail lounge?
The Observatory Club.
Thank you.
Very good, huh? Look at that.
So I grew up in that. I grew up in that. But no, unfortunately, I did, but I didn't drink at the time because I couldn't. But I grew up there. So yeah, there was the Observatory Club that overlooked the ice from one end of the goal. In fact, that's probably, Tom, where you sat with Louie in the story that you talk about. And then there was the Blue Line Club that was located in the arena, but you couldn't see the ice.
Which one had tinted windows?
Observatory.
There you go. Thank you.
Well, listen to you now. He's answering every question, baby.
I know. Kelly's got her questions answered. Guys, if you got more questions, Judd's the guy.
There you go, Kelly.
So in other words, Judd was Kelly's hero.
Oh,
you know that's a reference to something.
Yes. Then these guys are gonna have no clue.
No, they have no clue. Oh, did you really? You know Kelly's Heroes?
I know my old school
TV
shows.
Is that like a Hogan's Heroes type thing?
What do you think, Judd? Was it a Hogan's Heroes type of thing?
Like, old TV show?
Judd?
Sounds right.
It does sound right. Full disclosure, I never saw it. I just know about it.
Okay.
All right, we got to go. But Judd, a brilliant report because we avoided talking about the baseball game as much as we could. So thank you for that.
Yep, and we still talked about the Twins being cheap. Talk to you later.
All right, talk to you later.
Bye.
We'll take a break. Be right back. Chris Egert up next. I'm here talking with my friends Michael Bilski and Brad Huckle of North American Banking Company. Guys, it seems like banking has changed quite a bit since you first opened your doors in 1998.
Yes and no. In 98, we didn't have online and mobile banking like we do today. Many banking processes have also changed. One thing that hasn't changed is we still provide a true community bank experience right here in the Twin Cities.
Our team takes the time to get to know our customers and their goals. This creates a relationship that is unique in banking today and one our customers appreciate. It's why we like to say we provide a better banking experience.
You're absolutely right, Brad. I've been a customer for a long time. The service your team provides is phenomenal.
Thanks, Tommy.
So why not bank with my banker, North American Banking Company, a better banking experience, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
The past several years have been the craziest in the history of the car business. The pandemic, supply chain, and chip issues, all causing extreme inventory shortages that led to, predatory pricing. Some dealers charge thousands of dollars over MSRP.
We never played that game. I'm Jim Paul of Valley Buick GMC. We knew that would leave a bad taste in a customer's mouth. More importantly, from an integrity standpoint, it was just wrong.
So what about the current market? Inventory and pricing.
Valley has their best inventory in years. Really all the Buick and GMC models. Even the previously hard-to-find Yukons, HD pickups, and Hummer EVs. Plenty of deep discounts. Many with factory rebates and low-interest financing.
Then it's a good time to buy?
It's a great time. We're welcoming our previous customers back, as well as anyone else that felt the treatment just didn't feel right the last time somewhere else.
Valley Buick GMC in Apple Valley and Hastings or valleycardealers.com. Car buying without the bad aftertaste.
When you go to a restaurant, you expect the chef to be an expert. You expect your auto mechanic to be an expert when it comes to fixing your car. You judge them both by the results of their work. Josh Arnold is an expert in investments and planning your financial future. Josh Arnold is my expert, and he should be yours too. I talk to Josh every week, and he understands the market and the economy, and he knows how to plan for your retirement. Don't put it off another day. The man with your plan is Josh Arnold. Call Josh now for a no-obligation 48-minute evaluation. You've got nothing to lose, and you'll have an expert planning and managing your financial future. Call Josh at 952-925-5608. That's 952-925-5608. Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC Security Investment Advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions are Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice. Tom Barnard is a paid endorser.
This is the Tom Barnard Podcast.
And this is Channel 5's Chris Egert, brought to you by Mr. Money Talk, Josh Arnold. Call Josh today for your free 48-minute evaluation at 952-925-5608. Mr. Egert, how you doing?
No, this again.
Chris, your mic is muted.
What is wrong with all the people over there at the number 5?
Don't blame me. I don't know what's doing this crap.
You're a disaster. Although Judd just had the same problem you did, so the mics are very professional.
Maybe it's a limitation of the software platform we use to do this podcast.
Ooh, who set that up? Was that AJ that set that up?
All I'm saying is we don't have any problems.
I like that.
So you I don't know. I didn't change anything in the last 2 days. I've logged on to it and it's been off. It beats me.
I don't understand.
I got 99 problems and that ain't one of them, to be honest with you. So
what are your problems? I want to know what your problems are.
Where would you like me to start, Tom?
Yeah, exactly. So what's happening, Pally?
Today a bunch of labor leaders from around Minnesota are going to get together and tell everybody in a kumbaya how much they love Tim Walz and how Tim Walz should be Kamala Harris's pick for VP, which has led some to speculate that things are getting organized on Walz's end, and this isn't just happenstance that people are lining up for him. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense, except for the fact he's a terrible governor.
No comment on that. Obviously,
You're a news guy.
Here, but the implication is it's gone beyond, oh shucks, I'm glad to be on that list, to let's make sure he gets this shot if it's presented to him.
Which I do understand. You'd be proud that Minnesota governor would be the vice president of the United States. Hubert Humphrey wasn't he although he was from South Dakota, wasn't he? He became he was born in South Dakota, I think.
Was he born in South Dakota but lived here?
Yeah.
I think was the story. Yeah.
Wallace, South Dakota.
Look, don't get me wrong here. I think both parties are filled with people that are not very good. I'm not real impressed with anybody in this race. I got to be honest with you.
I've been reading more about there some pressure on the JD Vance thing that maybe Trump should go mulligan on that one. I'm going to try somebody else.
Why? What did JD Vance do now? I don't even pay attention to this stuff.
He's been kind of a, what's the right term? What's
Dink?
the old timey cold fish? What's the, you know what I'm talking? He's kind of a drip on the campaign trail. Like he's not like energizing people.
Yeah, he kind of seems like the schmuck brother, if that makes sense.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Like he's qualified to be there, but there's a lot of stuff that it seems like every day comes out and it's like, God, this guy, there's a lot of new stuff that we're just finding out. And it's not,
Yeah. And he's very like monotone, low energy. Like, I feel like sometimes you're like, do you even want to do this? Like, you're not being forced. Like you can opt out.
So who would you get for a vice president?
I don't know. And I don't know that I know definitely it sounds like it's being talked about. I think I read The Hill and I think editorials in the Wall Street Journal where they're like, yeah, maybe this guy wasn't the guy. I mean, he's got an incredible backstory. If I watched the Hillbilly Elegy on Netflix, I didn't read the book. It's an amazing backstory and an impressive background. And but whether that person is ready for this at the moment, he's just from a like performance standpoint, seems very flat. His interviews, doesn't seem very into it, to Tevin's point. But then they're like every day there's like another thing that comes out. Oh yeah, he said this about Trump back in 2016, and
right,
which that's kind of like shame on Trump's camp for not fully vetting that. If that, I think they knew that Vance had been opposed to Trump in certain ways at certain points.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can they unite for America if that's the theme? Yeah, of course they can. But I just don't. And I think that's where you got Walz as such a contrast. I mean, say what you will about him politically. He's very media savvy. He's very good on TV. He plays the game, shows up to St. Cloud in a camouflage hat and a T-shirt. And if he's in Washington, D.C., he looks the part there. Like the guy plays the game well. I don't see that with Vance at this point, for what it's worth, just a contrast.
Okay, well, how about raising the price of everything that Walz has done? He is costing us billions of dollars. That's okay with everybody?
Not arguing against that at all. I'm saying from a Democratic base, which is
I understand what you're saying.
From the same people who voted him into office. And it sounds like he's playing well on the national stage.
Chris, would you say that maybe the pick of Walz it would be? There are other states that potentially are swing states that Harris and her crew would think are more beneficial to like try to get a Shapiro or like another. Do you feel like it's more of a waste to go with a Walz, despite how maybe charismatic he comes across nationally?
I don't know. I guess that kind of depends on what their polling tells them. If their polling tells them picking Shapiro helps them win that state, then that's a whole different story.
Right.
But from just like a prolific sidekick type scenario, which is kind of what the vice president is on the stump, right?
Yeah.
Like it's more of a performance thing than it is actual substance in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see.
You know, am I the stick in the mud here? Because I don't like any of them. Democrat,
no, not at all.
Republican. I don't care for these people.
Well, it's funny you say that because we have our Survey USA poll, and then I got to go.
Oh, here we go.
We have our numbers from this just came out, our Survey USA poll. So Minnesota voters, latest survey, 22% favor Walz, 16% favor Klobuchar. Mark Kelly of Arizona, Josh Shapiro, they all have 10% support. So look at that two ways. Walz tops the list at 22%.
It's not
but that
good.
also means 78% didn't pick him, right?
Yeah,
Exactly. So I agree with everyone in the state of Minnesota. Look, I've dealt with politicians my entire career. There's no question about it. Did some huge favors for people. I never hear from any of them anymore. Once they got done what they wanted to get done, I mean, these call me every day, every week, every month, whatever. I don't hear from any of them anymore. Politicians are not good people. I'm sorry, they just aren't. I can criticize any politician.
When I was a lad, I used to want to be a politician. There
Oh, did you?
There was a senator from South Dakota by the name of Jim Abner, and he seemed like I think that was his name, seemed like a good man, a good, decent man. And I'm like, that would be a really cool thing to do. But the more I grew up and the more I saw the world for what it was, I'm like, yeah.
Who was the governor? I know you got to go, but who's the governor of South Dakota in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s?
Bill Janklow.
Bill Janklow. He used to call into my show all the time.
Oh, man. He went wild. Bill Janklow. I interviewed him a lot. And that guy was, he was full of piss and vinegar, and he didn't care who you were or what you did. He ran that state like a boss. I don't think everyone always agreed with him, but there was never any question he was in charge.
My kind of guy. Yeah, he
drove
a motorcycle too.
He did not fly anywhere. And South Dakota's a big state.
Yep.
You would get in this, like, I don't remember what it was, whether it's like a Lincoln Town car or like a caddy or this big boat of a vehicle, and he would just drive across the state, like 95 Diet Coke cans in there.
My kind of guy.
Interesting dude, but
yeah, he was great. He literally used to call into the show about once a month. It was
I bet.
Yeah,
I could see him being into it. He was a good showman too. Like
he was. Yep.
Yeah, he played the game very well, I think, but I also felt that came from a genuine, it came from a genuine place.
Okay, I just got a note that says because you didn't show up on the show on time, you've been fired.
All right. Well, I won't see you tomorrow then.
We will see you tomorrow, buddy. Thank you.
Bye, you guys.
Channel 5's Chris Egert, brought to you by Mr. Money Talk. Josh Arnold. Call Josh today for your free 48-minute evaluation at 952-925-5608. One thing about Governor Janklow, I believe he enjoyed a glass of wine every now and then. We're going to talk to a couple of friends of mine. We're going to talk a little more, and it's not going to be a serious conversation about wine. It's going to be about how wine has become the new beer in certain generations.
Yeah, absolutely.
It really has. We'll take a break. Be right back in a couple of seconds. Giancarlo and Matt will join us right after this. Mike Lindell and MyPillow employees want to thank my listeners for all your continued support. To thank you, they're having an overstock clearance and new product sale right now for the best prices ever. When you use promo code TOM, you get free shipping on your entire order. You get 50% off the MyPillow 2.0. Also get 50% off the brand new flannel sheets that just arrived and won't last long. 6-pack towel sets for only $29.98. And take advantage of the free shipping on larger items such as mattresses and mattress toppers. 100% made in the USA, on sale for as low as $99.99. Everything is on sale, from the brand new kitchen towels that have the same technology as the bath towels that actually absorb dog beds, blankets, couch pillows, and so much more. To get the best specials ever, go to mypillow.com or call 800-516-5146. Use promo code TOM. and you can get free shipping on your entire order. So call 800-516-5146. Go to mypillow.com and use promo code TOM.
Is that text you're sending so important that you missed your turn? Is that text you're sending so important that you ran the red light? Is that text you're sending so important you didn't see the ball coming onto the road or the child that followed? Hi, I'm Mike Bryant from Bradshaw and Bryant. When you take your eyes off the road for even 4 seconds, your vehicle travels 100 yards. That's the entire length of a football field. If you absolutely have to text, you need to pull off the road somewhere safe and do it from there. Texting and driving is against the law and can cause serious injury or even death to you and others. Now that is important. We hope you're never injured in a collision, but if you are, please contact us.
Find Bradshaw and Bryant, personal injury attorneys at minnesotapersonalinjury.com.
Going farther with Mike Bryant on your side, seeking justice for the injured. Bradshaw and Bryant.
I'm here talking with my friends Michael Bilski and Brad Huckle of North American Banking Company. Guys, it seems like banking has changed quite a bit since you first opened your doors in 1998.
Yes and no. In 98, we didn't have online and mobile banking like we do today. Many banking processes have also changed. One thing that hasn't changed is we still provide a true community bank experience right here in the Twin Cities.
Our team takes the time to get to know our customers and their goals. This creates a relationship that is unique in banking today and one our customers appreciate. It's why we like to say we provide a better banking experience.
You're absolutely right, Brad. I've been a customer for a long time. The service your team provides is phenomenal.
Thanks, Tommy.
So why not bank with my banker, North American Banking Company, a better banking experience, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
You're listening to the Tom Barnard Podcast.
By the way, back in the day.
Still like the mobsters used to sit always with the back to the wall.
Oh, you're good to go. Ooh, look at this. We're back.
We're back.
No, we're just talking about how horrible Italian people are.
Yes.
Isn't that what we're talking about? Look at you guys on camera.
Watching the Olympics. Yeah.
You can work that mic a little closer.
Okay.
That'd be good.
Perfect.
So introduce yourselves. We'll start with you.
With me, I'm Alfonso Aiello. I'm born and raised in Naples, Italy. I moved over here when I was probably my early 20s, and now I've been probably living more here than I lived in Italy. So I'm a Minnesota resident for
Minnesota guy. And I met you how long ago?
I think was probably around early 90s, I would say.
You taught me how to speak Italian.
Yes, I was his Italian teacher.
He was an Italian teacher. He taught me how to speak Italian. And I was going to do some of it, but I decided against it.
That's fine. We'll save the crowd.
Actually, then you went somewhere else, and there was a woman that
took over.
Yeah, took over. Yeah. Did you ever know her?
No, I never met her before. No, I left at one point. It wasn't for me. I didn't have the patience to be. They had a really interesting method, how to teach.
Oh yeah.
Remember that? It was like, and it was very repetitive, and it wasn't me. I wasn't a teacher. They just asked me to do it. I was just like,
okay, we're going to talk about wine, no question. But first I want to ask you one question. How big is the crossover between Italian and Spanish? Because they have a lot of
language. They're very similar. There are Latin languages. Yeah. A lot of the words are similar. I would say probably 60%.
Because one of the first things I ever asked her, and I was 20 years old at the time, or no, I was older than that, I guess. I was in 30, something like that. No, I had to be a lot younger than that, so it wasn't her. It was somebody else that I asked about that. But I asked him what besame el culo meant. You guys know what that means?
Nope.
No, besame el culo.
No.
Kiss my ass. And she was not happy that I asked her that. I will tell you that, Alfonso. She was not happy about it at all. So how long you been? Okay, now we're gonna. What I want to do with this segment, have you guys come in once a month and do this segment, is wine to me. And I don't even drink alcohol anymore, but I still buy it. And, so everybody else gets to enjoy it. But wine has become like the new beer, hasn't it? in a way, when you walk into somebody's house, it used to be, hey, you want a beer? Now it's like, hey, would you like a glass of wine or something? It's much more prevalent than it used to be, isn't it? I mean, at least in America, I'm talking.
Matt, what do you think? You go to more party than I do.
Yeah.
There you go.
Big partier. Yes and no. I think wine is more of a community. Like you're not sharing a can of beer, right? You're sharing a bottle of wine with people. And I think it's more of a conversation of enjoying wine with people. And it's more of a social thing, I believe, and it's sharing, it's talking about what the wine is. A lot of people may not know where the wine comes from, but behind a bottle of wine, there is a story of how this wine came about, how the family started it, where the wine comes from. You can get really technical on where everything comes from, different vineyards and what that side of it. But it is more of a, let's have a bottle of wine, let's have a conversation and enjoy each other's company.
And that's exactly why I wanted you guys to come in and do the show, is because it is not just about sitting down and drinking. And I suppose back in the day, going to the bar and having a beer with the fellas. Do people even do that anymore? Hey, I'll meet you over at the bar. Do they still do that kind of thing?
That's a good question. I don't with my friends, but we have kids and stuff. But you still drive by bars and you still see them packed. But so maybe it's still after work, have a happy hour. But I don't see that happening a lot anymore.
It's funny. I'm of a different age than both of you guys. There's no question about that. And everybody in this building right now. But the one thing you never see in a wine bar is a fist fight breakout.
I agree.
It just never happens. When I was a kid, Howie's Bar over on West Broadway in North Minneapolis, you could count on the fact, especially around the pool tables, there would be a fist fight before you left the night. It just doesn't happen in wine bars.
It was news if there wasn't a fight.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
We used to go to, I'm sure I can mention the name because it's close, but Eddie Webster, and if you remember, I used to work at Sofitel many years ago. I was a waiter there, and after that, we used to go for a drink there, and there was a kind of a club and music and bar every night in the parking lot. There was some fight. Somebody looked at somebody's girl in a weird way, and all of a sudden, a fight started. I'm like, okay, let's get out of here. It was like we were exhausted and worked all day, just want to get there. It was ridiculous. But just to add to what Matt just said, I think that there's been a cultural shift in this country.
Yes.
Right. So wine is just I think that I've been here for 30 years, and I think people traveled less. Only people that had money before could travel to Europe. I would just say the upper echelon of people would go to France or Italy. It was on the bucket list of a lot of people, but I think traveling became more affordable. So people were able to go to France, to go to Italy, to go to Spain, and tasted different wines because that's part of the culture there. You go to Italy or you go to France, they don't offer you a beer there. You go to a restaurant, you get a bottle of wine. So they brought the culture back here. They started searching for wine. They started searching for labels. They were searching for things that they liked when they went over there. And then they started to understand that in front of a meal, you need a glass of wine. And so when they invited people over to their houses, they went to buy a bottle of wine, their first bottle of wine at the store or the second bottle of wine at the store. And then it became kind of a habit. And it grew. If you're thinking about it, 30 years ago, we were drinking jug wines. 25 years ago, we're drinking, and now we're drinking all sort of shape and form, but still like wines that are very well recognized in the world, all over the world. So people are much more acculturated about wine right now than they were 20 years ago.
I don't think there's any question about it. I got to ask you a question because this just popped into my head. Were you working at Sofitel the night that I picked up Boz Skaggs and almost threw him in the pool?
Yeah.
I knew you were there. I will never. Boz Skaggs. Do you even know who that is, man?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you do know, because you guys know Boz Skaggs, don't you? Great singer.
Oh, yeah, I've heard the name.
We were at a pool party. Boz was in town doing a show and all the rest of it. He came over because at that time I was very muscular, bigger guy and all the rest of it. So he came over and he goes, "Yeah, I heard you're some kind of tough guy." I said, "No, I'm not a tough guy." He goes, "Well," he said, "you look very strong." I said, "Yeah, I'm very strong." He goes, "Yeah, how strong?" I picked him up and held him over my head and I said, "You want me to throw you in the pool? Is that strong enough for you?" So you remember that?
Yes, I remember that. They're probably still talking about it. It's not the Sofitel. It's not the Sofitel anymore. Right? It's just, there was good time. Sofitel was a good time. It was a good restaurant. Again, it was probably one of the first hotels that really gave people the culture of food and wine with the French chefs and the wine and very educational for people. You know,
I think Sammy was a big part of that too.
Sammy was great.
Sammy's back, you know.
Yeah, is he?
Yeah, he's back at the Sheraton, which used to be the Sofitel. That guy is one of my favorite people in the world.
He must be 80 right now.
Oh, I would think so. Yeah, but he doesn't look.
He's Indian.
Yeah, I think that's probably right.
I think he's Indian. Yeah,
but I think he looks like he's about 50.
He's great.
He is a wonderful guy. But that is another part of the education as far as the wine was concerned, is talking to Sammy about wines all those years ago.
Yeah.
It's not just the alcohol part of it. The alcohol is kind of the second tier deal. It's what you just described. Let's get together and have a glass of wine. Nobody's become a raging jerk and want to start fights or all the rest of it. It's very comforting. It's all also in a family. It's a very nice. I mean, families back in the old days. And look, I'm not condemning anybody who drinks beer. You want to drink beer, good for you. I mean, it's wonderful. I've had a beer or two in my lifetime, no question. But the added part that wine brought to my life was the culture of the whole situation. You know, that there are many great Australian wines from what I understand now. I don't really know much about them, but around the world, there are great wines, are there not?
Yeah, I mean, there's wines from all over, and there's more new areas popping up from all over the world, Eastern Europe, Georgia, all these different places where you never thought wine was. Even England now that's making sparkling wine.
Really?
Yeah.
See, that surprised me. It's like Minnesota wine kind of, isn't it?
It's very comparable to what Champagne is. They're making sparkling wine. Yep. Pinot Noir, Chardonnay.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
See, I didn't even know.
It's really, really good. It's really high quality producers that have been doing it. I mean, 10, 15 years is kind of when it's came on into the United States and it's become a thing now.
Right.
So, so all over the world, but like Alfonso said, it's more of that culture now of people traveling. It's expanded everybody's experiences to dabble, not just in California. And nothing wrong with California, Oregon, Washington, fantastic wines coming out of there. But there's awesome wines also France, Italy, Germany, Spain,
yes.
At all different price points that it is accessible to everybody.
Can you guys hang around for a while?
Yeah.
You got to go because we've got a couple more people coming on, but you guys should probably, because they're going to want, matter of fact, I was just asked by one of them, they get asked some questions about wine as well. So if you guys can stick around, that'd be great.
Absolutely.
Okay, we'll take a quick break here. Be right back. Josh Arnold will join us as well, right?
Yes.
Yep. Looking forward to it. When you go to a restaurant, you expect the chef to be an expert. You expect your auto mechanic to be an expert when it comes to fixing your car. You judge them both by the results of their work. Josh Arnold is an expert in investments and planning your financial future. Josh Arnold is my expert, and he should be yours too. I talk to Josh every week, and he understands the market and the economy, and he knows how to plan for your retirement. Don't put it off another day. The man with your plan is Josh Arnold. Call Josh now for a no-obligation 48-minute evaluation. You've got nothing to lose, and you'll have an expert planning and managing your financial future. Call Josh at 952-925-5608. That's 952-925-5608. Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC Security Investment Advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions are Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice. Tom Barnard is a paid endorser.
The past several years have been the craziest in the history of the car business. The pandemic, supply chain and chip issues, all causing extreme inventory shortages that led to, predatory pricing. Some dealers charge thousands of dollars over MSRP.
We never played that game. I'm Jim Paul of Valley Buick GMC. We knew that would leave a bad taste in a customer's mouth. More importantly, from an integrity standpoint, it was just wrong.
So what about the current market? Inventory and pricing.
Valley has their best inventory in years. Really all the Buick and GMC models. Even the previously hard-to-find Yukons, HD pickups, and Hummer EVs. Plenty of deep discounts. Many with factory rebates and low-interest financing.
Then it's a good time to buy?
It's a great time. We're welcoming our previous customers back, as well as anyone else that felt the treatment just didn't feel right the last time somewhere else.
Valley Buick GMC in Apple Valley and Hastings or valleycardealers.com. Car buying without the bad aftertaste.
Mike Lindell and MyPillow employees want to thank my listeners for all your continued support. To thank you, they're having an overstock clearance and new product sale right now for the best prices ever. When you use promo code TOM, you get free shipping on your entire order. You get 50% off the MyPillow 2.0. Also get 50% off the brand new flannel sheets that just arrived and won't last long. 6-pack towel sets for only $29.98. And take advantage of the free shipping on larger items such as mattresses and mattress toppers. 100% made in the USA, on sale for as low as $99.99. Everything is on sale, from the brand new kitchen towels that have the same technology as the bath towels that actually absorb dog beds, blankets, couch pillows, and so much more. To get the best specials ever, go to mypillow.com or call 800-516-5146. Use promo code TOM, and you can get free shipping on your entire order. So call 800-516-5146. Go to mypillow.com and use promo code TOM.
You're listening to the Tom Barnard Podcast.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Alfonso's with us. Matt's with us. We're just talking now. It turns out Tevin and Matt know each other's friends, and it's going to be all about Wisconsin. And,
So we'll keep the Wisconsin memory lane trip for another episode.
I have a question for both of you guys.
Yep.
Wisconsinites are nowhere near as passive-aggressive as Minnesotans, are they? Or do they kind of lean that way, too?
It definitely bleeds over. Put it that way.
Oh, it does bleed over.
Bleeds over the St. Croix River for sure.
So maybe just in Hudson. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
in Hudson.
Lacrosse.
Yeah, Hudson lacrosse.
Is Josh going to be with us today?
Yes, he is.
Oh, he is. Josh, how are you?
Tom, I am pretty good.
Where are you now?
I am on Tracy Avenue getting ready to turn on to Vernon on the way to see my doctor.
What, you're a psychiatrist?
I need more than a psychiatrist.
Now, Josh, I wanted to bring you in on this because we got a couple of guys that know a lot about wine, Alfonso and Matt, and I know you are a wine drinker yourself. It's but the only thing you drink, isn't it?
I drink Ripple.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. I've seen you drink lots of Ripple.
I know you were going to come back in. You're going to make a Jewish joke, and you say the only thing you drink is Mogen David or Manischewitz.
Or Manischewitz. No, actually, the reason that I asked these two guys to stay is because we just talked about Sammy at the Sheraton, the great restaurant there. And, of course,
we love Sammy.
He loves Sammy. That's why I thought of this whole deal. They do a great job bringing you wonderful wine there, do they not?
They did. Very, very nice. Over at Layla, which is at the Sheraton, formerly known as the Sofitel.
Right. Absolutely. And it just occurred to me while I was talking to these two guys, we're talking about wine not from any other perspective other than how it's wine becomes part of people's lives. Even though I don't drink anymore and I haven't in 12 years, it's still a big part of my life because I own a bunch of wine. Matter of fact, Kath and I just donated a bunch of wine to a charity, and they killed it with it, which is that's part of it as well. Sharing wine with other people, you buy wine, you enjoy it, you've helped out people who needed your help. Wine does that kind of thing.
Wine is a very, very friendly drink. I know I'll say my significant other, my wife when she was alive, and my kids love wine. And son number 2 is big into wine. He has traveled, I'll say, to Europe, South America, sampling wines and looking for wine.
To South America. Now, you guys know a lot about South American wines because I know nothing about South American wines.
Yeah, Chilean, Argentina. Argentina is huge with Malbec, Cabernet.
Yeah,
red wines. Also, Chilean also is big. Cabernet Carmenere is a big one that comes out of Chile, which is a unique grape variety. But yeah, South American wines are great, and they give a great value also.
Really,
price point wise.
So did you bring that up because Josh brought up being a Jew?
Well, I wanted to talk about wine. You've got Australia's been making wine.
Yes.
You've got
New Zealand.
All of a sudden there's wines in Minnesota, Wisconsin. upstate New York. People are buying up real estate just so they can have the wine.
I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, 40
somebody
estates.
wanted to see a really good movie
50.
about wine, you could take a look at Bottle Shock.
Bottle Shock was a good movie. You're right. It was. Alfonso, you were saying something?
48 out of 50 states make wine in the United States.
48 of 50?
Yeah.
So not Hawaii?
I don't know I don't know the 2 states that don't make it, but 48 states produce some level of wine. So that's
really, that's amazing.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think some of the climate, like in Minnesota, would be all that great for growing grapes. I wouldn't think.
No, well, in Minnesota, it's super sweet. You know, it's sugar headed and very manipulated. But I think one thing that I think we talked last time at the coffee shop. We're talking about it. I think out of the alcoholic produce, like wine is the only natural, made with a natural product.
Yeah,
grapes.
Yep, absolutely.
Beer is, but it's just like a little more refined. Versus wine is just a natural grapes crashed and become wine. Alcohol, produce an alcohol. The yeast produces alcohol, and then all of a sudden turns into wine. But you're right; it's just an accompaniment to food, and versus other drinks that are more like casual. Like a beer is a casual drink.
Yes, absolutely.
We drink it with pizza, but
pizza and beer, that is pretty good. There's no doubt about it. There's no question about that. Josh and I've known you how long now, Josh? About a year and a half, something like that?
We've known each other very well for a year and a half, but we met decades ago.
Decades ago on an airplane. That's exactly right. But Josh and I have a friendship that's gotten much, much closer ever since Kinky Friedman died. Do you know who Kinky Friedman is? Josh starts laughing.
I just love this. You just have to drop in the Kinkster. I love that.
Kinky Friedman just died. What, about a month ago now, Josh?
It's about a month ago, and definitely miss Kinky Friedman. As a matter of fact,
yes, sir.
Because I've got just a few minutes here, Tom. I've got to drop something in Live Nation. A company that many people love to hate because they own Ticketmaster and they own a lot of venues across the country. And I'm sure that Kinky Friedman did some of his shows at a Live Nation venue. They report their earnings after the close. The stock currently trading at 95 and a half could be considered fully valued if, in fact, we'll say the Justice Department and the FTC succeed in their action against them to have them broken apart. But if they are not broken apart, the FTC and the Justice Department want them broken apart because they have a monopoly, quote unquote, on Ticketmaster or ticketing, and they own numerous venues where concerts are sold. And I've always kidded around that President Biden couldn't get tickets to go see Taylor Swift several years ago, or had to pay up for the tickets. So he sicked the FTC, Lena Khan, and the Justice Department on Live Nation just to attempt to drop ticket prices. But Taylor Swift's concerts are outrageous. They're oversold. Getting tickets is extremely hard, and you definitely have to pay up even to get them, or pay up in the aftermarket. And I'm not sure how much Ticketmaster does in the aftermarket. Should this suit go away, analysts estimate that Live Nation is worth up to $130 a share. But we'll hear more about the suit and how Live Nation is doing when they report earnings tonight after the close. Numerous other companies are reporting after the close tonight, including Advanced Micro Devices and a big one, Microsoft. And a big focus there is going to be on artificial intelligence.
Oh, God.
And how much spending Microsoft has done. Microsoft, however, is under the gun for some of the issues that they had a week ago. Well, actually, it's a little more now than a week ago, 10 days ago, with a company called CrowdStrike. And they, I'll say CrowdStrike's mess up or trying to put a patch on their some new software crashed a lot of computers, and a few companies are going to be going after CrowdStrike and Microsoft for a loss of business, including local Delta, which really hurt. I'll say that lockout really hurt Delta's bottom line, and that won't be reported until this quarter. Later this week, we've got the Federal Reserve. I don't think the Fed is going to be moving on interest rates. A lot of people are hoping that they'll give indication that they'll start dropping interest rates in September. I don't think the Fed will drop in September. They'll wait until after the election. And later this week, which we'll touch on Friday, favorites Apple, Amazon, and DraftKings are going to report their earnings. So a lot of nervousness on my part ahead of earnings, and this happens every quarter.
I understand that completely. I know you got to go, but before you do, I'd like to point out that Josh is a nice Jewish boy from the East Coast. He loves Kinky Friedman, who is a nice Jewish boy who grew up in Texas. Being a Jew in Texas, not exactly a comfortable living. But Josh, I would like you to point out your favorite song by, and I wish Kinky Friedman were still alive, but he just died about a month ago. What was his biggest hit again, Josh? I forgot.
Well, for me, Tom, it's put your biscuits in the oven and your buns in the bed. For you, Tom, it's They Don't Make Jews Like Jesus Anymore.
Those are real songs, by the way.
Kinky Friedman.
Kinky Friedman. Josh, another brilliant report as always, sir.
I will talk to you later this week and see you on Friday.
I'll see you Friday, Josh. Thanks a lot, pal.
Talk to you.
We'll take a break. You guys should stick and talk to Kristen Bird as well, because Kristen is not a big drinker, but when she does drink, I believe it's always wine. This would fit together quite well, actually. And don't forget, They Don't Make Jews Like Jesus. Anyway, that's a real song, by the way.
I got to go listen to it.
It's a great song. It's really good.
Put it on YouTube as soon as I
Yeah, there you go. Kristen Bird will join us right after this.
I've been tracking the weather in Minnesota for a long time. I'm 5 Eyewitness News Chief Meteorologist Ken Barlow. In the morning, I've got to be right, because my forecast affects your family's entire day. And in the evening, you can count on my friend, Ren.
That's right, Ken. I'm 5 Eyewitness News evening meteorologist Ren Claire. And as a Minnesotan, I know our weather can be tricky. Throughout the day and into the night, I've got you covered with an accurate forecast to help keep your family safe and ready for any weather.
And don't forget, no matter how things change or what time of day, you'll always get our forecast first at the start of every newscast on 5 Eyewitness News. Start your day with me, Ken Barlow.
And wrap up your day with me, Ren Claire.
Because 5 Eyewitness News is always tracking our weather, so you're always alerted first. It's why 5 Eyewitness News is Minnesota's weather authority.
When you need someone to listen, a lawyer you know and trust.
If you've never been in an auto accident, it's hard to know what to expect from the insurance adjuster. Here are some tips. 1, if they talk you about whether or not you should hire a lawyer, it's a good sign that you probably should. 2, it's illegal for them to give you any legal advice. They aren't lawyers and they aren't licensed to practice law. 3, if they tell you that everyone involved in the accident is at fault, they're wrong. This comes from the belief that you're at fault for just being on the road. That's nonsense and not supported by any law. Finally, remember that friendly adjusters are often just gaining information. They want you to do most of the talking so they can file their report. I'm Mike Bryant from Bradshaw & Bryant. I hope you're never injured in a collision. But if you are, don't sign anything until you've talked to us.
Find Bradshaw & Bryant, personal injury attorneys at minnesotapersonalinjury.com.
Seeking justice for the injured. Bradshaw and Bryant.
I hosted my show on the radio for 40 years. Now I host the Tom Barnard Podcast, and I'll tell you, I've never seen the passion and engagement from our audience as I do now. I know we also have businesses that listen to our podcast, and it got me thinking, wouldn't it be great to help those businesses grow by telling my listeners about them? So here's the deal. If you own or handle marketing for a business, would like to have my audience buy your product or service, visit TomBarnardShow.com, keyword partner, and we'll put together an ad campaign to help your business. That's TomBarnardShow.com, keyword partner, and thank you for listening.
This is the Tom Barnard Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kristen Bird Entertainment News brought to you by North American Banking Company. Go to anybanco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. So, Kristen, I was telling Alfonso and Matt that you're a booze hound. Is that correct?
I love that phrase.
I love that phrase.
He's called me a booze hound for years now.
12 years now. Other than that. Kristen likes to point out, by the way, back when I used to drink, she used to love to go on social media because I'd be on there 2:30 in the morning threatening people.
I remember those days.
Oh, great.
They were fun.
I'm glad I'm not the only one who remembers this because I'm on the West Coast. So when I would wake up, I start my day early, 6 a.m. I'd be like, what did Tom tweet today? So
it's on Twitter now, X, I guess, but now I'm on Facebook, I suppose. But something different. Now, Kristen's not a big drinker, but when you do have an alcoholic beverage, it's pretty much wine, isn't it?
I do enjoy a glass of wine, yes.
Well, these guys are experts at it. And it's just such a great part of the culture now because it's not about, we talked about this already, Chris, the fact that it's not about like some other beverages. You go to the bar, you drink too much, you get in fights, you act like a jerk. Wine bars aren't like that at all. And it's a nice thing.
Wine bar is my jam. We have a fabulous wine bar in my neighborhood. It's Vino y Tapas. So it's just tapas and wine. And it's like, just got a great vibe. It's low key. And it's probably one of my favorite places to go because it's not like loud and obnoxious. You just like really go to enjoy like conversation, food, a glass of wine. It's fabulous.
See, that's exactly why I wanted them to stay to talk to you about it because it's a different culture than, I was never I tried drinking whiskey, but you think I'm a prick now? Whoa. You get the whiskey going. And then, beer was fine, all the rest of it. But when I got into wine, I suppose in my mid to late 20s, something like that, it was a total different feel. It does have that, what you're talking about, Chris, and you can just sit there and enjoy it. You don't see a lot of fist fights at wine bars. We already talked about that a little bit, but it's just a different culture. And that's why I wanted these guys to come in because a lot of people, I'm asking both you guys this. A lot of people get scared off by wine because they think it's too hoity-toity or it's too expensive, or there are some great wines that are not very expensive.
No, first of all, I think that that's important to say that like California wine became when California first came to the wine market, it made wine for people to drink by itself, right? So vinos in tapa or an Italian restaurant or go to a French restaurant brought the culture of drinking wine with food.
Mm-hmm.
Because some of these wines are a little bit different than the California wines, less juicy, they're a little more acidic.
Mm-hmm.
Needs a little food to go with that. I think I agree. I think it's just the I call it the 30-20-10 rule. Like people, living in Edina for many years and around people that, bigger houses and there's wine cellars was kind of a thing in the 90s and everybody built a wine cellar, thought it was the coolest thing. And they were buying the most expensive wine in the store and they will show it to people like, look what I purchased. And they would kind of show it to me. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. I know these names. They've been around for like 4 generations. Thank you very much. But I tell people that being in the business, we look for what's called the 30-20-10 rule. A bottle that looks like $30, tastes like $20, but costs $10. That's really what the trick of this business is. That's what Matt and I do. That's what our job is to look the best for the best wine for the best value that everybody can drink.
Mm-hmm. That's a great point. A really good point, Matt. You agree with that?
Yeah, I agree 100%. And there's a price point for everybody out there. Great wines at 10, 15, 20, 25 and above. I mean, there's every price point. It is an approachable product that anybody can have access to. It doesn't matter the price point. And there's great wines. Yes, there may be a higher quality or smaller production at a $20 price point, but quality wise, there's still great wines at $15 that is accessible for everybody out there in the market.
That's wonderful. Do you think there's any chance at some point I can talk Kristen and getting hammered just to see how she acts?
I think there's a good chance.
You guys, that is not hard to do. I am a 1 glass wine drinker.
She's a lightweight.
I am a lightweight. 2 glasses of wine, I am absolutely slurry. I'm 5'3", so there's not many places for my wine to go. It goes right to my head. But to your point, Alfonso and Matt, I just want to say, you're talking a little bit about the California wine culture. We're very fortunate here that we have so many tasting rooms, whether it's here in Malibu or, you go up to Napa and Sonoma, we've got Temecula. We are so rich in the wine culture here that it becomes very approachable to be able to do wine tastings, go and have birthday parties. And even if you don't drink, there's still the opportunity to enjoy the food and the atmosphere. And that's for what I really love about California. It has the landscape to really provide such a rich environment for wineries.
See, I think it's a great point. You guys want to make any comments about the fact? You already talked about it, Alfonso, the fact that food and wine go together. It's not like you said, you have a pizza, have a beer, but wine with pizza is good too.
I started drinking wine. Well, coming from Italy, my dad drank wine for every lunch and dinner and every meal. I never seen my dad drink wine outside of a meal. We don't drink wine outside of meals. Maybe a spritz or something like a cocktail or something a little bit, an aperitif. But yeah, the interesting part is when I was 5 years old, they would pour me like a little bit of wine with water in it. And I'm like, why are you putting water in that? Like, already at 4 and 5, I understood that wine with water wasn't tasting good. So at about 7, 8 years old, I told my dad, I'm like, cut the water up. Just give me a little bit and let me enjoy a little bit of wine. Like, let me see how it tastes. But it's not until I would just say, because people keep talking about generations, like how the younger people don't drink wine. And when I was 20, I wasn't into wine. I was in the sport and I was in the normal stuff that a teenager is. Mm-hmm. I think you really start picking up wine when you're probably 28, 29 years old. You really start understanding it and getting the pairing with food and why you're drinking it. There's a little more conscious, but you're a little more conscious about yourself and what you're drinking wine for. My son is 20, they're 22 and 24. They drink wine, but they're not understanding the body and what kind of light or heavy, or, it's just, they're drinking it because we drink it. Mm-hmm. And it's a cultural thing, but they are not getting it. I got it when I was like 28, 29 years old, when I started working in restaurants, understanding why people were ordering a certain wine, why white with fish, red with meat, those were the basic kind of like, and then why would you drink a red with fish? Which red would you drink with fish and why? Oh, so that's kind of like what got me in the restaurant, got me to that level. And that's how I got in the wine business, because it was fun. I thought it was like a fun.
No question about that. Now, speaking of experts, Kristen Bird is an expert on TV shows, movies. She tries to drive me into watching things I would hate.
I've done pretty well this year. I think that 2024 is my banner year for you.
You think so?
I'm watching TV shows.
So what's new? You got anything on your mind about your end of things?
Well, the big topic today is that nobody wants to host the Oscars for 2025. Oh. Yes. So Jimmy Kimmel turned it down. And their next go-to was John Mulaney. And John Mulaney had hosted the Oscars Governors Awards, which are all like the Lifetime Achievement Awards. So he was kind of the heir apparent. He turned it down as well. So I know. And I know it sounds so far away because it is March 2025, but you need to get on the host. You need to have them set by fall, because it's such a beast of a job, and you have to really have someone in place to be able to do promos and really write good material so that the show doesn't come across as boring as it often does. So who do you think should host the Oscars?
You.
No. No. It is a thankless job. Nobody wants to see me doing a comedic monologue.
I do.
You want to watch me flop?
No, I think you'd kill. I think you'd be wonderful.
I would be a mess.
Kristen Burt, two guys walk into a bar.
It would be like, I don't know what to say. You know what I would do? I'd literally bring out my cats and be like, this is my cats. Aren't they cute? I put them in costume for the Oscars. I mean, I literally would not know what to do.
No, Johnny Carson hosted the Oscars forever, didn't he?
He did, as well as Bob Hope. They were kind of like, yes, they were the Oscars for years. Billy Crystal obviously was another one that kind of was the heir apparent to the earlier hosts. And, they've done, Whoopi Goldberg has come back in the past. Steve Martin has done it. But I think that this is their time to probably get somebody younger, because that they're always looking for that younger host. So Tevin and AJ, who would you have host the Oscars?
Well, I was going to say, get Ricky Gervais out of retirement. Get him up there and just roast everybody.
He's hilarious.
The Academy will never do it. That exact reason. That's why I love the Golden Globes, because everything Ricky Gervais says is spot on. Like everything. But the Academy will never do it because they consider themselves the serious award show. They take themselves too seriously.
Yeah, and that's the problem, because you can't have a comedian, like a top comedian, go in and host, because you guys want to be serious. So like you can't have like an Andrew Schultz, for example, come in and just light the building on fire as he's roasting everybody. But I feel like a Nate Bargatze is like a safe-ish pick. I would go with that route.
But someone everybody knows. Like, this is your other problem, Tevin.
Yeah, but I think that it would be, people are going to watch the Oscars, I think, regardless of who the host is.
But remember, we had Joe Coy for the Golden Globes.
Oh, God.
And that didn't work.
Terrible.
And people are like, who's Joe Coy? I mean, we knew who Joe Coy was, but the average, you have to think of like the average consumer who just like goes to Tom Cruise movies.
Yeah, then I would say you just pick one of like the late night show hosts and say, hey, do you want to do it? And
Jimmy Kimmel turned it down. He's ABC, so you're already out.
Damn. Well,
but I'm like, this is the people that they're in. I know this is do you do The Rock and just make it like somebody that, everybody at least knows and genuinely likes?
Yeah, you could do like The Rock. And I'm sure if you got The Rock on board, you could probably weasel Kevin Hart into trying to do maybe a committee type situation where you have multiple people that are at least familiar, but they don't have the entire pressure of hosting the entire thing. You can break it up into little smaller segments and maybe make it easier that way.
Yeah, we've had like 3 hosts at some points. We've done that before too. AJ, any thoughts?
How unconventional would it be to just get somebody in like the movie atmosphere? Like, I don't know why, but for some reason, and maybe it's just because he's been in everything recently, just get Glenn Powell up there, just host, usher it along. I mean, it seems like that's kind of what they want to do with a lot of things, puts him in the spotlight. And to your point, everybody knows him. He's younger. He's pretty darn charismatic. I mean, he seems like he could drive that along. You just crack a couple jokes, steer the ship, and then get out of the way when you need to.
Yeah, he's the heir apparent to Tom Cruise, so why not like cement the next movie star? It's not a bad idea. And he's also taking time off from work, so technically he have time in his schedule to do it. AJ, you might win this argument.
I didn't know we were arguing.
Debate.
Well, you wouldn't be arguing if Rock was the host. I can guarantee you that. There'd be no arguing there.
Nobody wants any political figures at their Oscars.
No, I'm sure that's true. I don't know. That seems like a good idea to me. I have not watched the Oscars, and I can't even tell you. It's been decades since I watched the Oscars. I just don't care.
Yeah, understandable. I think that they're still relevant in a way that the red carpet is big business. And to the point of why Matt and Alfonso is here, it's big business to the wine business too. There's always one big wine sponsor gets a lot of press and play because they're the official sponsor of the Oscars, and they do the governor's ball, which is the big party afterwards. So there's a lot of industries that you don't think about that are tied into the Oscars. So it's big business for everyone. It's a big business for advertisers, car companies, upcoming movies, things that you just don't think about, even technology, because, besides the Super Bowl, Oscars are one of the biggest events of the year that are watched on a global level.
It still is, huh? I didn't know that.
It is.
Yeah, I did not know that. I used to watch them all the time but I was a huge fan of Johnny Carson. That was the number one reason I watched it, because of Johnny Carson.
Yeah, and I think the Billy Crystal made a statement and a reason for people to watch, at least for his opening monologue, because he would always do something out of pocket. And, Jimmy Kimmel has had some funny moments. Ellen DeGeneres had a couple of funny moments, but nothing that really stuck like the classic hosts. And, award shows, again, it's just Hollywood patting itself on the back, as is every award show, no matter what industry you're in. What are the wine Oscars? Is there a wine Oscar award?
There are, every magazine like Wine Enthusiast, Wine Spectator, they all have their, their kind of award show every year in New York or, Vegas. They have multiple cities that they use where the top producer come and just, show their wine. I think they have the top 100 usually every year. So those wines are featured at these New York shows plus more, plus the big names. It's a big deal. It's an ego driven show. It's like,
yeah, it's just like the Oscars. And Tom, you won like the radio Oscars. You're in the Radio Hall of Fame.
And National Radio Hall. That's true. Well, I'm supposed to get a star in the Walk of Fame in Hollywood. And Chris
we haven't nominated you yet. We have to wait until next year.
I got to wait till next year to get it done. Who's going to come up with the $75,000? That's what I want to know.
We have to nominate you first, and then they will let us know.
We'll cross the $75,000.
We got to get to the $250 first. We're going to crowdsource that.
Yeah, there you go.
For the nomination process, and then we'll get. He's already at the $75,000. I'm like, dude, we got to get you past the first hurdle.
Yeah, but look, the $500 is okay, but the $75,000, that's a different level.
Yes, it is. I mean, we're gonna have to start a GoFundMe.
Yeah, might have to call up Bilski and see if he can.
Bilski, get the bank involved.
Yeah,
it's a great idea.
Take out a loan. We all have a loan for Tom's Walk of Fame stuff.
Paying it off for years. Any closing words, young lady?
But just one of your listeners had a question. They were like, why is Snoop Dogg all over the Olympics?
Oh, yeah.
Very simple. Not only is he ambassador for NBC for the Olympics, he is also joining The Voice this fall as one of the judges. So, it's an easy cross promotion. It's why they have Kelly Clarkson there as well. It just makes it very easy and simple. They take NBC talent and throw them all over the Olympics. So to remind you that they're coming your way to TV later this year as well.
Well, and I told Matt, because Matt was wondering, how he could get to that point. And I said, Matt, all you got to do is kill a couple of people, and then you'll be just like Snoop Dogg.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Yeah.
Snoop, I will tell you, Snoop Dogg's, I mean, if you look at his evolution from like where he started and where he is now, because he is literally like America's grandfather, and he is honestly like so beloved. I mean, he is in every audience right now at every Olympic sport. People are clamoring to get photos with him. I mean, if you're looking for someone who had at least some growth, I think, in their life, he probably headed in the right direction instead of the wrong direction.
Yeah. Can he host the Oscars? Is that
a Snoop Dogg Oscars? I wish it was an NBC show because, maybe the Golden Globes because, but they're on CBS now. That's right. They moved last year. Darn it.
They did.
I thought we were making headway on this. All right. We'll have to figure out what Snoop can host because the Oscars would be amazing.
That's where we create a wine televised award show.
Yes. Ooh, I like
yes.
He does have his own wine.
He does?
Yeah, and a gin, I believe, as well.
Gin also, yes.
Celebrities in the spirits and wine line is big.
I don't know if they're his own or he just puts a name on it.
I think he just puts his name on it. I doubt he's
not making it.
No, because he's leaning into the lifestyle space because he co-hosts with Martha Stewart all the time. They have a show that has been Emmy nominated and everything.
He does, is it Corona? Does he do?
Yeah, Corona too. He's in advertisement for that.
God, all I had to do was kill two people. I could have been a multi-millionaire. Think about it.
Allegedly, Tom.
Yes. Allegedly. I forgot allegedly. You're right.
Please.
Kristen, thank you, my dear. We will talk to you tomorrow.
All right. Nice to meet you guys.
Bye. Nice to meet you. Bye.
Kristen Bird Entertainment News brought to you by North American Banking Company. Go to nabanco.com to learn more. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender. So I knew this segment was going to be a big hit. No question. You guys got to come back every month on a Tuesday. It'll be phenomenal. Or if you want to stop in once in a while, kind of pop in. It was great. I think people really, really enjoyed it because do you think a lot of people are still afraid of talking about wine because there's still that, you don't hear a lot about beer snobs or whiskey snobs, but you hear about wine snobs. And how did that happen? I don't really understand that.
Do you want to give your impression?
Yeah, there you
have to
go.
tread lightly.
Yes.
There's just a hesitancy, I think, behind it.
I wonder why, though.
It's a good question. I think there's a lot of, I don't know, like hesitancy of like, is this good or how should I be drinking this? You need to swirl the wine. You need to smell it. You need, it's the nuances of it, which do come into play, but they don't need to be so serious about it. I think it needs to be more calmed down. And but it's also the experience of having it with food and wine and how they all come together.
You know, I do remember it. I was 4 years old and my mother was having a house party with her brother and her cousin and all the rest of it. And while they were doing what they were doing, I went over and sipped a little wine out of a glass and went, oh, this is interesting. I'm 4 years old, right? Then I made the mistake. I took a sip out of somebody's whiskey Coke. Ooh. 4-year-old starting a fight didn't look good.
I think right now bourbon is becoming that way. You got the bourbon snobs.
Yeah.
If you go, like everything that's kind of a new becomes like, you always find people that think that they know more than you do. That's why it's really hard to, it's kind of the new culture right now. Like, I know I just did, I read about it, but I think the wine, wine is also intimidating because people don't know enough about it.
Yeah.
And so when they start talking about, like, again, they judge bottles by color, by price. And that's not really what wine is all about.
No.
You're supposed to taste it and see if it tastes good, or if you like it. It's like ice cream. We always tell people like wine, it's like ice cream. Pick your flavor. I mean, there's not a perfect. Just because I like a wine doesn't mean that Matt likes a wine or they like the same wine. And so there's no wrong in the wine. But people don't. Like remember when White Zinfandel came out, people were embarrassed to walk around with a glass of pink wine because they felt like, okay, everybody knows I'm drinking like a inexpensive sweet wine.
There you have it. All right, gentlemen, we look forward to your next time. The next time you come in, we'll take care of it. I knew the segment was going to be a big hit.
Appreciate
it. It's really good.
Appreciate you having us here.
All right, that's going to do it for the show today. The family show coming up in about 10 minutes.
Thank you.